me.
Oh, man. That's the fun part.
Just like to start them.
Ready, Chris? Brenda, you ready?
Yep.
Call the meeting to order. It's Montcalm County Board of Commissioners for Monday, July 13th. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vice Chairman Peterson.
Pastor Dennis Ross from Nevins Lake Church will lead us in prayer, please.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we know that you created everything and that you sustain all that you've made. We pray for our commissioners for this meeting and for their continued labors on behalf of this county, that you would use them to work out your will and purposes for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Roll call.
Alexander,
Here.
Johnston,
Here.
Peterson,
Yes, ma'am.
Johnson,
Here.
Mahar,
Here.
Carr,
Yes,
and Murray.
Yep.
everyone's here. We have a quorum. On tonight's agenda, I don't have any changes to make. Does anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Johnston.
I would move to approve our agenda as presented.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda as presented. Discussion. Hearing no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Everyone have a copy of the last meeting minutes from June 22nd.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Johnston.
I'd move to approve our minutes from our June 22nd, 2026 regular board meeting as presented.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the last regular board meeting, June 22nd, 2026 as presented. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comments. Hearing no public comments. Vice Chairman Peterson with tonight's correspondence, please.
Alrighty. First up is the treasurer's list of foreclosed properties that starts on page 7 of your packet. This is just kind of a FYI, or at least historically it has been. The county hasn't taken any steps towards buying these tax foreclosed properties. So I guess if you have a burning desire to buy one of these, as far as the board, you better act quick, because I believe it says we can notify them no later than July 13th. So you'll see it there. There's some properties. Chairman Carr and I were discussing before. We're not really sure how all this works. So maybe if we have an interest in it, we find out from legal and tackle it next year, I guess. I don't know, but if nobody has anything on that, Chris, you want us to put it on file?
Mm-hmm.
I would move to place the property scheduled for the 2026 tax foreclosure auction on file.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next up on page 13, you will see a request from Sackett Ranch to release 2 acres of land from the PA 116. And I would assume this is for a home, being that it's 2 acres,
That
but
would be my assumption.
yeah. So this seems pretty cut and dry. Chris, do you have anything to add to it?
No.
And you're okay with it?
Mhm.
Okay. So if no one has anything, I would move to grant the release of the property as described from the PA 116 for Sackett Ranch at the request of Mary Sackett.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Discussion. Hearing no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next up on page 19 is the intergovernmental agreement for the emergency services. I believe this is an every year thing,
Yes,
correct?
it is. Yep.
So we just need to approve and allow for the appropriate signatures, unless anyone has anything to add to it. If not, I would move to approve the fiscal year 2025 intergovernmental agreement and allow for the appropriate signatures.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Discussion. Under discussion, we're noticing that we don't have the agreement in the packet, but
Did he not supply you with the agreement?
I don't see it.
Seems odd.
it's the same as it's been. I think we're.
Yeah, it
fine.
is. It's the same thing we do every year.
Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next up on page 20 is the ask to enter into agreements for the enforcement of township junk ordinances with Sydney Township, Douglas Township, and Richland Township. They're all presented to you there in your packet. I believe they run through page 27. So does anybody have anything on that? Chris, would you like these in 3 separate motions or all in one?
One's fine
Okay.
for me.
Then I would move to accept the Sydney Township, Douglas Township, and Richland Township enforcement agreement and allow for the appropriate signatures.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Discussion.
I assume this is the language that the sheriff wanted for the townships?
The sheriff and the prosecutor, as far as I know.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next, page 28 is the IT tech position that we had discussed before while eliminating VC3 as our IT provider. It looks like just a pretty standard job description. And Brenda, you can speak more to this because you are in it.
So we already had a job description on file because at one time we had in-house IT. So I didn't tweak it very much, just slight little things where we used to be with Google email, now we're with Outlook, Microsoft 365 instead of Google. So just really, that's all I did to that document. And then the wage scale I did run by someone, and they thought it was an adequate wage scale for the position.
The increases are consistent with other people in so
Yeah.
similar steps.
Yeah. I kind of looked at a few different of our existing hourly folks to see what the percentage increase was between them and took an average, I believe. I believe they range from 3 to 5% between steps. I think I did 4.
If nobody else has anything, then I would move to approve the job description and 2026 wage scale for the full-time IT technician to take effect on 10/1/2026 and allow the controller some flexibility in the starting wage.
It's been moved and supported. Discussion.
And that flexibility is just based on experience and all that jazz.
Does anybody else think of ITT tech when I say IT
Yes.
tech?
Every time.
Yeah, those old commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I must be too young for that.
They weren't on the radio back in the day.
Ouch!
Oh, you said old. What do you want me to do?
Said young.
Oh,
If there's no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
all right. Next up is everyone's favorite warrant reports. First is warrant report 06252026 in the amount of $220,695.76. Next, warrant report 07022026 in the amount of $200,293.25. Third, warrant report 07092026 in the amount of $487,896.01. And last but not least, warrant report 07132026 in the amount of $537,381.58 for a grand total of $1,446,266.60. Brenda,
Sounds good.
perfect. So if nobody has anything about the warrant reports, I would move to approve and allow for the appropriate signatures.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 4 warrant reports and obtain the appropriate signatures. The total is $1,446,266.60. Discussion. If there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next is the consent agenda, items 10 through 12. Looks like annual unlicensed dog report is in there, our agreement with Stanton Old Fashioned Days, and our 2026 budget review. If nobody has anything to add to that, I would move to place those items on file.
Support. It's been moved and supported to place the consent agenda on file. Discussion. If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And the rest is for your information and no fund resolutions from other counties. So if nobody has anything else, that will be your correspondence for Monday, July 13th.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Peterson.
Thank you.
Up next is committee reports. We don't have any. After that, new business, item 1, fiscal year 2027 budget.
If you have the preliminary on your desks, just to know, I did use 750,000 in fund balance to balance the general fund budget. And that left a surplus of 44,689, it looks like. The rest of the funds are pretty much all balanced with revenue. There's a few that are using some fund balance. I believe one of them is the sheriff's millage fund, if I'm correct. Yeah. I don't remember who the other ones were, but not very many. In your side pocket, you're gonna find 4 documents. One is just a refresher of what you approved and didn't approve last year. I thought that would be good information for you to know what you did last year. Second one is the spending of the marijuana dollars thus far. And the third one is the fees schedule. Not too many changes proposed to that. Mostly in the area, well, we added the sheriff's department's fees. We didn't have those on there before. So that's why there's so many. They're all in the proposed just because we're new to it. Treasurer changed to her delinquent dog license fees, basically to make it more simplified. Few changes in EMS. One for equalization. That's about, then there's the building department and a couple up here on animal control. So those we'll kind of get to towards the end of the process. And then the last document is fund balances by fund, basically. The beginning of 2026 budget year and kind of where we currently are as of my last set of budget adjustments in June. So that's just good reference information for you as we start the talks, and you may need to refer to some of those in our discussions. So our first budget work session is Friday at 1.
Was
And
today?
I gave you a calendar too to clear that up. How do we want to proceed with Friday? Do
I
you
got one
want
thing.
to take everything home, digest it, come back Friday and make the decision as to how you want to proceed there? Do you want me to line special guests up for that day now? How do you want to do it?
I mean, and I'm just one guy, but I don't think we even know who we want to talk to. So I don't think we need to have everybody up here right now. I think the way we did it last year was we just went through it, gave it like a preliminary yeses and nos. And then if there was any questions, the next meeting we said, hey, why don't you come in and give us a little more information to that? And then
Okay.
the third meeting was more of the finalization. And I don't think we even went past the third meeting
I don't
last year.
think we did either.
So.
I will say, Mac did share something with me out of Florida. I guess there is a ballot issue about, eliminating property taxes in Florida in November. And some counties there are already cutting back in lieu of that passing. So, and with the talk in our legislature about rolling back property taxes, we get nearly $10 million in property taxes out of a $17 to $18 million general fund. So that if they did anything, it would be a hit. So I think that's something we need to take into consideration. I don't know where they stand with it currently in our legislature. I know I read in the MAC newsletter that they passed 60 bills with the budget last Thursday or Friday on the 3rd. And I just kind of read a brief summary of what those were, but nothing to do with property taxes. So I'm really not sure where we stand with that. The newsletter indicated that revenue sharing was going to be flat. There would be no increase in that. Nothing to say that they wouldn't take it away mid-year, but because that's happened before. So I think those are all things we kind of need to be cognizant of and keep those in the back of our brain while we're meeting. So that's all I got for that.
Okay. Any questions for Brenda on the budget? If not, item number 2 is clerk correspondence. Item number 3 is controller correspondence.
All I have is in reference to that Eagle test well stuff. I did reach out to my Eagle contact and I printed that email off for you and attached. That attachment is what the link was about. I clicked on the link and that's what it showed, what the data they're collecting basically. So, and then Matt had some information in there from someone. So I guess you wanted us to put that back on the agenda for the 27th meeting. I guess I need to know, what do we want to put on there? Is this information going to be sufficient? Do we want someone from Eagle to see if we can get somebody from Eagle here in the room to ask those questions to, or how do we want to proceed?
I would be okay with having somebody from Eagle here to ask some questions too, if they were so inclined. What are your, Commissioner Carr, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know if it's possible.
At least, I think we can make the offer. If they don't have someone available, then it is what it is. But, the meeting that Chairman Carr and I and Commissioner Murray sat in, I think definitely raised some questions that, I haven't had a chance to talk to the gentleman after the meeting, but at least in my mind, I have some concerns, I guess. And certainly the farmers in our area have some concerns and it might help to get them.
Should I take those questions and pose them to the Eagle contact in hopes that we could get responses back from the meeting on the 27th? That's what I'm thinking.
These are pretty basic questions, and I would think that there's nothing in this list that would be a surprise to them. I don't care if they do that, but there's 100% no. These are pretty elementary.
Yeah.
Should we?
I just need to know what you want on the
Yeah.
agenda for the 27th for this topic.
Should one of us maybe at least let the board know what maybe the concerns are of some of the local, farmers, potato farmers? Is that something we're prepared to discuss?
Sure, we can talk about that.
It's what I took away from it is that there is concern that potatoes are a main industry in our county and really probably, and obviously there's people that know more about this than I do on this board, but maybe the best cash crop that Montgomery County has, but it takes a lot of water to grow potatoes, but we've got good soil to do so. And that our bigger farmers do depend, a lot of our bigger farmers do depend on the potatoes and, but they do take water. And there is concern that Eagle may look at data and consider the fact that they're using these high capacity irrigation and that maybe they're taking down the water table and maybe try to do some sort of regulation, or maybe even turn some community support against, some potato farmers is part of what I gathered. And there was a gentleman there who seemed extremely knowledgeable from a company who works with farmers across Michigan, Indiana to kind of monitor their wells. And he feels that Eagle is not equipped to really do this sort of testing. He doesn't think they understand the data. He doesn't think they understand the ebb and flow of reservoirs or aquifers. And he thinks it's not a good idea. He just thinks that there's very little benefit. He said there is benefit to data if it's read correctly with an open mind. He feels like maybe Eagle doesn't have an open mind, that they already have a belief system as far as what they think is happening. And they're just basically looking for any sort of data to basically prove their hypothesis. And so they're concerned. And so I take those concerns, fairly seriously. We are a farming community, and I want to make sure we're not doing anything that would potentially harm those guys. So now there's always two sides to every story.
Sure.
And so it would be nice to kind of have some answers from Eagle to some of these concerns, I guess. But so that's what I gathered out of the meeting.
I think just one point to clarify, I don't think the potato farmers are scared to investigate this and don't want Eagle touching it.
Correct.
I think they feel like they've got a monitoring well process in place
Yes.
with a hydrogeologist, which the Eagle isn't offering up
Yeah.
to assess this.
Right.
And they're currently doing testing 24/7, 365
Yes.
that gives a real-time data that supports the idea
Correct.
that we're not depleting the water supply. And their fear is Eagle will take a one-time sample on a well, and that data is not accurate or complete, and they're not going to use the data in a fair manner to assess the situation.
Yes.
Well, and to be able to say that it's just the farmer's fault, not taking into consideration, basic consumer consumption, any of that. And I think all roads lead to some sort of taxing. And if it ends up at the farmers being taxed,
Food's
the
getting
next
taxed.
card to fall is the consumer. So
You're right. It's a potential water tax,
Yeah.
exact water usage tax.
yeah,
Another thing that was brought up at that meeting is there's a number of monitoring wells in the area, a lot. And Eagle has not reached out to any of the growers that already have monitoring wells about getting data. And so that just doesn't, why not? Why are you not, if the information is already available and that's what you're after, why not get it from a source that already has the information? And so I don't know. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
I'd
I
say
agree.
Based on Chairman Carr's explanation, I'd be ready to vote no on this right now and not allow them access to this well site personally.
Well, the thing of it is, it's just us denying permission on county property. There's state land. They've got other options. They can drill a test well on a private. All we're doing is granting them permission to use county park to drill a test well. It really isn't going to affect their plan going forward if they choose to.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even think of that. They have plenty of state land within the county they could use. They don't need ours.
But I don't know if they have necessarily land in the areas that they're looking for. Like I think it was the Crown Park was very specific, and it has some potato growers around it, and so.
But the argument that the hydrogeologist made was that test well at Crown Park isn't in a high withdrawal area, which the monitoring wells that the farmers have paid for is right in those fields of high withdrawal, and that is more useful information to tell what that aquifer is doing than a one-time. Their method of collecting this is pour 5 gallons of water down the hole and figure out how long it takes to disperse. And the monitoring wells that are currently in place pump 500 or 600 gallons a minute, 24/7, and read that over the course of the summer. So
I think the only way that I would have any level of comfort with approving it would be if they had the hydrogeologist that we spoke with, if he was involved in the data collection and the analyzing that data as far as what does it mean. I don't think that Eagle is equipped with the right.
What did he's
People.
been doing that for 28 years?
Yeah.
He's got data for 28 years on this.
Yeah.
That supports the idea that because the farmers don't want to wreck the thing. They're the first
Not a-
people that
not a
don't
single
want that
bit,
to go
yeah.
bad. They've got to have that. So they want that good data and they want to be good stewards of the water. That's why they voluntarily paid for these monitoring wells and have been doing this
Right.
for 28 years.
Yeah, I'm with Jack. I'm prepared to vote no on it, so.
Well, what do we want to do?
I'd like to hear from Eagle myself, but
Well, I'd
whatever
offer
the board's
anybody wants to
pleasure
make
is.
a motion to go either way and we can vote on it, I guess. If Nate wants to make a motion to have Eagle come, you want to make a motion to vote? Somebody make a motion and we'll go from there.
motion necessarily, Dewey, for Eagle to come, but or just answer some of our questions that we had, you know.
There's no harm in hearing the
I
other
feel
side.
like it's
of
our
it.
due diligence to hear both sides.
We need a motion to have them come?
Yeah.
So
Or
move.
just reach out to
And we've
them.
got
At least an offer.
Yeah.
I suspect they won't send somebody. So it's probably moot, but I kind of
Well,
agree with you.
I think they'll come. This letter indicates that if you've got any other questions, she'd be happy to meet with us and she'll come.
Okay. Is that the young lady that they were talking about?
Sydney?
Sydney? Okay.
I made the motion.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to invite Eagle to the next meeting,
Mhm.
to the next meeting to discuss their request for a test well or a monitoring well at Crown Park. Discussion.
I do think it's fair to say that it was the belief of the geologist that maybe this young lady wouldn't really have the answers, that she's a lower level. Well, I don't want to insult her, but not someone who's a decision maker and maybe not somebody who's even, that experienced, but I mean, she can do her best, but just know that's, because I know that was his concerns. He asked a lot of questions and he just felt like she tried to answer, but really couldn't. So.
Okay.
She was at that meeting, you guys?
No, he had had a
Oh,
prior
he
meeting
did?
with her.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Anything else, Brenda, controller
No.
correspondence?
I'm done.
Item 4 is chair board correspondence. I don't have anything. Does anyone else on the board? Old business. Item 1 is the 2026 through 2028 COAM, POAM union contracts. You have in your packet. Brenda had Brenda and I were informed by the sheriff of a technical change. I don't know that it amounts to anything since we last discussed it. I'll let Brenda explain what that is.
So, so when we approved the contracts, I think it was early May, to go move forward for the union to do signatures, the wage scale was set up for the lieutenant so that he would make 7% over the sergeant in year 1, 9% over the sergeant in year 2, and 10% over the sergeant in year 3. And that's what the prior contract was, how the prior contract was written as well. In the process of the union signing, I believe the sheriff raised a concern that he thought the 7% and the 9% would go away and it would be all 10s across the board for at least this contract. my argument is that isn't what you guys agreed to in May. So I guess I want Nate Wolf, our legal, did remove the 7 and 9% in these contracts you're seeing. So it states all 10. The way it didn't change the wage rates at all. It's just the understanding that now they're going to be all 10s and not the 7 and 9 and 10% that you saw earlier. So my concern is that you agreed to one thing and now the wording has been changed. And now are you okay with that and going to allow for signatures, or do we want to go back to the table?
My problem with it is the fact that if it went the other way and we said, oh, well, we don't like this, we want to change just this little thing to this percent, this, I mean, just take this for a perfect example. We actually want to change that to 5%, 7%, and 8%. They would have a conniption. The union would have a conniption, and it would be we'd have to go back to the table and everything else. So are we going to say, yeah, no problem, we'll let you do what you want, but we know darn well that they would not be super impressed if we did it the other way. And I know the argument is it doesn't change anything. Well, if it doesn't change anything, then why change it?
This isn't the union that's making this, though. It's the sheriff, right?
Right.
Who's technically sits on our side.
On our side of the table.
Okay.
But again, it wasn't brought before the collective bargaining committee, wasn't brought before the board of commissioners. It was just, hey, we're going to change this real quick. Sign off on it, please.
I'm not clear on how it doesn't change anything. So this is the spread between those two.
From the last contract.
So the reason it doesn't change anything then is the guy on the one end is going to actually make less. They're going to maintain 10% between them, but one of them is going to make less than they would have. But the spread is this. How come there isn't more dollars being spent if there's 10% between them for 3 years instead of 7, 9, and 10?
Well, so we gave them a 3% increase or whatever the agreement was in year one. That was enough where the lieutenant was over the 7 and 9% in years 1 and 2.
Oh, I see.
Because I know when I did the wages, figured out what the wages would be with that 3% increase, I went back and I made sure he was at least 7% over in year 1 and 9% over in year 2 and 10% in year 3. And he was more than that in year 1 and 2. So that's why it doesn't change anything.
I see. So the wage that we agreed to, those steps or those numbers exceeded that.
Mhm.
And so then
Yeah.
the sheriff just wanted to change the
Mhm.
wording of the spread to more accurately reflect what the differential between the job is.
He just thinks it should be 10% going forward into perpetuity, I guess.
Is there
It shouldn't
any
go backwards.
is there any
After being at
scenario
10,
where
go back to 7?
is there any scenario where we unilaterally hired in a sergeant that was getting paid more at their prior job? Say we hired one from Kent County. They were getting paid more, say $40 an hour, and our lieutenant's at $41 an hour. We hire in that sergeant, and with this 10% buffer, he has to go up 10%. Is there any hypothetical scenario that happens?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because we don't really care what they made at their old job.
And,
They're going to be on our scale.
and really what the sheriff's argument is the last contract was the nuts and bolts of this. That was 7, 9, and ended at 10.
Right.
And he's saying, why would
Then
it
it
make
should be
sense
10.
to start back over again and go 7, 9, and 10 again in this contract?
That's my
Should-
presumption, yeah.
It got to 10 in the last contract, it should be 10 going forward.
Right.
And the wages that we granted in bargaining support that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's really just kind of a little bit of a housekeeping issue,
Yeah.
right?
It just wasn't run back through until now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Commissioner Johnson.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the COAM, POAM union contracts for January 1, 2026 through December 31st, 2028 as presented and allow for signatures.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Discussion. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Old business number 2 is life insurance for part-time employees that we talked about last month.
Yes, so you approved that item last month for all part-time employees. However, we found out when Rochelle reached out to the company that the way our rescue folks are paid, they're paid pretty much on a piece rate system. They're not paid hourly for very many of their hours at all. And the company said we can't do that. They won't write an insurance policy for someone that doesn't work a minimum of 16 hours a week. I think it was 15 or 16 hours a week. So Pat and I talked at Central Dispatch meeting last week about just self-funding that. It's never, we haven't had a part-timer that's ever utilized that benefit, even the permanent part-timers that get that benefit. It may never happen.
So when we talked about it last meeting, I think the premium was what, Adam, 900 and some dollars?
Yeah, it wasn't over 1,000.
So the company doesn't want to write it the way it is, so we could hang our hat on that and say, sorry, but we don't have a mechanism to do it. Option 1. Option 2, we could self-fund it if it's a premium of $1,000, 800.
I believe it was like 960 if I remember
We're
right.
gonna pay out 5,000 on a part-time person. Save the cost of the $1,000-ish a year and just underwrite it ourselves.
Which would basically just involve a policy in the policy manual, creating a policy.
Our max payout is 5,000.
That's what we
For
were offering in
part-timers.
this for part-time,
It was 960.
960.
Yep.
So
The only other bothersome point for me, we do have some rescue staff that work one required shift per quarter just to stay active. And then you have some rescue staff that they work as much as a part-time paramedic, you know? So that part bothers me, the fairness of it.
And we did, and I guess we did have option 3 we talked about was that maybe we require only certain people with certain amount of hours are eligible for this benefit, not just everybody that's
Mhm.
pulling a shift a quarter, but you have to have
10 hours a month or something like that.
Yeah, which most of them do have that. The ones that work all the time in rescue.
And I mean, at some point, it becomes ridiculous because our exposure is not much on this. I would, so they work a shift a quarter.
I would agree with Matt. I know we're not paying these kids for what they're doing. We're paying these kids for what we could potentially ask them to do for us. And whether that's 1 shift a quarter or 20 shifts a quarter, it's I feel a very small price to pay should they, die while in service, quite honestly. And
Oh, it's not all in service. It's just
At all.
a life insurance policy.
while employed.
Oh, wow,
Sorry.
okay.
And I'm pretty sure that EMS budget can handle it. We're also extending this to everyone though, right? Not just EMS employees.
Right.
Okay.
So maybe 3 employees in the building department. Oh, a dozen or more than a dozen.
I think
20
we-
employees of Commission on Aging.
I think we ended at 80 total because I
Yeah.
did 80 dollar a month, 12 months, 960.
Do you want to think about it? Discuss it sometime throughout the next month in the budget process? Do you want to have it come back to a board meeting? Are you prepared to make a decision or motion tonight? What's your pleasure?
We weren't going to activate it till 10/1, so you've got time if you wanted to think about it. Or that was your last motion anyway? 10/1.
I'm ready to vote on it.
Throw it out there.
Trying to think of how I need to word it. So basically, we're looking to, we're going to underwrite the policy.
Yeah,
Which would need a creation of
Technically, we're probably not going to create a life insurance policy. We're just going to offer a benefit, in-house benefit. Wouldn't we, Brenda?
Self-funded, yeah, self-funded benefit.
$5,000
Which,
death benefit to part-time people.
all right. Well, I
We're not going to
will,
make a separate fund and put money in it to self-fund it. We're just going to pay for it in the event that happens,
Yeah.
right?
When it happens, yeah.
Yeah.
When and if.
yeah, I will move that we supply a death benefit of $5,000 for life insurance to part-time employees to be underwritten by Montcalm County.
Support. Okay. I think we want to be careful not to call it life insurance. I think because we're really not,
We're not
we're
sure.
just going to provide a
Benefit.
$5,000
Death benefit.
death benefit, like you'd
There you
said,
We'll change the language to death benefit instead of
For-
life insurance.
all part-time employees of the county. That seemed like it covers it. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Charlie.
That was a good one.
Who
Up
seconded that?
next is public comments. Charlie and Matt.
Good, Matt.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe. I live down in Greenville. I want to start by saying I began to press charges against your chairman, and we are in that process currently. You guys didn't feel the need to do anything about it, so I had to go and seek legal recourse because you all saw a man right here get in my face and do absolutely nothing about it. So the next steps here are we have a motion for a preliminary injunction that's going to be filed. We also have production of documents that's going to be filed. But here's the big one right here. United States District Court, Western District of Michigan, Southern Division is where I'm going to be filing this. Montcalm County Board of Commissioners and Patrick Q. Carr. You know, I informed you the way to avoid all this would be through an apology. You failed to do so, and your actions therefore expose you and the board to potential liability under federal civil rights law, including 42 USC 1983. Why? Because it isn't about respect. I do not have to show you any respect when I come in here, yet the chairman made sure to point out that it was about respect. You know, my beliefs don't have to agree with yours. I do not have to be kind to you. I do not have to state my name. I can use vulgar language as I see fit in my 3 minutes, as long as I'm not disruptive. And I have never been disruptive. I've never been asked to leave. I've just been shut down. So therefore, I'm going to be filing a federal lawsuit for $3 million, one for each time I was shut down. $3 million. And in the history of Montcalm County and their Open Meetings Act violations, I don't see how they're going to go ahead and win this, especially with it on tape in the admission. But it gets even better. I've done some war games, and 1/6 of that is going to be $500,000, but we're at $585,000 once you settle, and once I pay $405 to get this filed in federal court. You're going to be begging me to take about $500,000, but you know what? I'll settle for $58,500 and Chairman Carr's Corvette. That's what I'll settle for right here before I have to file in court. Now, people settle all the time. Do you really want to go ahead and put what is on video and what is out here in the public record in court? I've already pressed charges. I got them all written up. Montcalm County is about to go through some things. Oh, and by the way, I got the signatures to run for county commissioner. Have fun, Jack.
Any other public comments?
I move to adjourn.
It's been moved and supported to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.